Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ravneet and today I am back with my update for Pan That Palette. This year I am joining Fantastic Ladies collab, which is panning it old school. So I have chosen my oldest palette in my collection to pan. I got this palette in 2017. It is getting really old in my collection and that's the reason I just want to get rid of this one. Not necessarily getting rid because I enjoy this palette. So what I meant to say was that I want to get a lot of uses out of this one and hopefully we'll be able to finish it. But we will see how it progresses throughout the year. But before we get started, if you are new here, please consider subscribing to my channel because I make a lot of panning videos. Now let's get into the update. It is getting really hot in here. I'm not complaining, but seems like allergy season is gone, but my allergies aren't. But anyway, it's still, I checked the weather and there's still like a very high pollen present in the atmosphere. So anyway, I apologize for my voice. But yeah, I am panning this e.l.f. Summer Breeze palette and this is how it looked like last month. And I had a few goals on this one and I'm gonna explain them as I go through each eyeshadow. This is how my palette is looking like today. There is a lot of progress and I managed to hit some goals. I will be showing comparison pictures for each eyeshadow as we go through them. So my overall goal for this palette is to always use each eyeshadow at least 5 times. And then I set some focus eyeshadows and some specific goals for them. But before we deep dive into the eyeshadow comparisons, this is the total amount of times I used all the eyeshadows before starting the project. And this is the total number of uses that I have used each eyeshadow in this project, and these are the total uses so far for this palette. Again, I started logging my eyeshadow uses in 2020, so I don't have uses prior to 2020, so that's why I'm only including the uses that I have tracked. It is not a soft pressed formula, and that's the reason some of these eyeshadows are being used more than 100 times and still don't have that kind of uses as it would have on a more softer eyeshadow formula. But we are making progress nonetheless. So let's go over the very first shade, which is this beigey shade right here, and my brush was hitting this side and I used it a total of 11 times. This is how it's looking like. I'm so excited about the next two eyeshadows because my goal was to expand the pan on this top end, which I did. It took me 17 times to expand the pan on this side, so I had to use a lot of this eyeshadow to kind of expand the pan the way I wanted to. I wanted to have an even uses throughout the pan, and that's the reason I set a goal to expand pan on the top side. I wanted to do the same thing with the next eyeshadow, which I used a total of 6 times, but I was focusing more on this one, and I think pan has expanded ever so slightly. And the next eyeshadow, like this warm pink, I used it a total of 8 times, and I didn't have any specific goal for this one, but still the pan has expanded a little bit on the bottom part. Next eyeshadow is the one that I'm using in my eyebrows every time I do my makeup. That's the reason why the pan has expanded that much, and I used it a total of 24 times. And this really nice pinky eyeshadow, I used it a total of 8 times as well. There's a slight difference in the pan, not a lot. And the next shade is this mustard sort of warm shade, which I really like, but it's also the one that's hardest to make any progress because it's very hard pressed. But I was able to use it 7 times, and I think the product on this portion was really thin, and that's the reason the pan expanded towards the side. And the third goal that I had for this eyeshadow palette last update was to expand pan on this purplish shade, because last month there was like narrow pan and my goal was to widen it, and I was successful in doing so, and I had to use it a total of 15 times in order to expand the pan. This is also an eyeshadow that I have to use a lot in order to build it up. It is pigmented, but I have to use a little bit more of this one. Another pan that has expanded is on this dark brown shade, and I used it a total of 12 times last month. And the black shade, I used it 10 times, but there's not a lot of difference in the pan expansion, but it is getting really thin on the bottom part. So overall, I'm really happy with how I'm progressing so far with this palette. However, I still have some doubts if I will be able to finish these two and these two eyeshadows by end of this year, but we'll see how much progress we can make throughout the remaining months. Now it's time to set some goals. I think now it's time to move forward with hitting side pans. I'm going to be selecting the same shades as last month, but adding a little bit more, even though in the pictures it looks like this guy right here has a side pan, but it doesn't. The picture was just taken from the angle. You can see that there's a little bit of product left in here. So I want to hit side pan on this light beigey shade, and I also want to hit side pan on the next shade right here. There is not a lot of product left on the side, so I think I will be able to achieve that. And let's see if we can get side pan on the third shade as well. I feel like if I focus on this eyeshadow right here on one spot, I will be able to get side pan on this one as well. So my goal for next month would be to hit side pans on 4 eyeshadows. I think that is doable. And for my eyebrow shade, I just want to expand the pan on the top. And apart from that, I want to use all the eyeshadows in here at least 5 times. So that is it for today's update. Thank you so much for sticking with me until the end. I hope you have a wonderful day or night, depending on when you're watching my video. I will see you in my next one. Until then, take care. Bye.